What's up, lemon heads? Welcome to another episode of From the Yellow Chair. I'm Crystal and I'm riding solo here in the Lemon Seed studios of From the Yellow Chair. I'm joined today by an awesome partner. I've actually gotten to meet and hang out with some of this team. They're a great team. It's Ashly Hughes from Gustave Larson. We did have to discover, Crystal really had to use my Texas to discover how to accurately pronounce that. So I hope I'm doing it justice. We kind of had a little moment about that. So I'm going to introduce you to Ashly, and we are going to talk today about partnerships through your distributor that really make you successful and success stories that she has seen. I can't wait to hear more about it. Let's sip some lemonade. All right. Well, welcome, Ashly. Thank you
Mm,
for joining me on the call today. Ashly, you are the business development coordinator, I should say, or organizer for Gustave Larson, right? Tell us a little bit about like what you do and your company and things like that.
I am a business development manager. I oversee territories in Minnesota and North Dakota, work with dealers to expand their business knowledge and grow in strategy. A lot of the businesses that I work with are technicians turned owners and need to leverage different avenues for growth without necessarily knowing what they're doing.
Well, if you're driving down the road and you're a contractor or heck, you own any business and you don't know what you're doing, let's raise our hand. Let us all raise our hand to it is always a challenge to know everything about everything. But just visiting with Ashly before we actually went live with the podcast and listening to how you guys try to help your contractors have access. So I always say a big thing here is, as a contractor, we just want access to resources. Now, contractor, I do not know that you're actually utilizing a lot of the resources that you have at your disposal. Number one, or actually investing in the partnerships that come from recommendations. So, I know for like Lemon Seed specifically, we go through a pretty good vetting process to be recommended from manufacturers, distributors, or other vendor partners. And so, but a lot of times we will make a warm connection. So someone will say, "Hey, this is my client. You should meet with Lemon Seed," and then the contractor never does it. And I know it's because contractors are busy and they're distracted or they're trying to run companies and have some semblance of work life balance. If people even know what that is. And so running a business is not for the weak. So, well, actually, one of the partnership ideas that you talked about that you shared with me was trying to help one of your contractors get more Google reviews. And I thought you could just kind of tell us about that scenario and how you approached it and what the contractor thought.
Yeah, it is so important for Google reviews nowadays, and a lot of the older generation contractors to newer generations, like technology savvy, just don't understand the value behind organics and Google reviews. We work with a company called Podium, which assists in that process, but also leveraging maybe process that can be implemented within the organization without subscribing to an additional service when you are managing a younger company. And we've worked with contractors on in both ways.
Yeah. So speaking on this, so what happens is Google reviews. So for those of you that aren't used to this, maybe you're like she's saying, maybe you're a younger contractor or a smaller revenue, or you're new to the game here. There are so many integrations that help you automatically request Google reviews that drive, number one, it drives engagement from your customers, allowing them to leave a review, but it also builds some authority. And listen, I'm going to go on a little tangent for a minute. Trust me, you do not have to have all 5-star reviews. Now, some of y'all over there like playing around with a 3-star review average. Now, that's not it either, right? But at the end of the day, it is very important that you maintain your online presence. And Google reviews are very important. And then, there's also a difference between Google local service ad reviews or verified reviews and regular Google reviews because, Google just likes to have a good time and like see what we can keep riled up. But with these Google reviews, working with a program like Podium or PulseM, or I could probably think, even Service Titan has an integration to help you generate more reviews. The goal here is you see the engagement and you get your clients engaging with you, leaving you a response, and it as you used earlier, Ashley, it affects the algorithm of where you show up. And yours was specifically around a dealer locator, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so just helping that. So was this partner, was he already connected with Podium, or did you have to make that connection as well?
Made that connection with a benefit to our higher level dealers that they can add to the package.
Oh, okay, okay. So is it a part of, it's kind of a part of their co-op plan with you?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. So I'll say that's another thing. One of the biggest issues that I see contractors is they really do not take advantage of their co-op funds until December the 29th. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I've got to use $4,000. So I'm going to order a bunch of pins with my company name on it. And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you could have used this towards digital. You could have done so much more than just utilizing that for promotional products. So make sure that you're working closely with your distributor, manufacturer, whomever you're getting your rebates from, and really make the most of those relationships so that it actually helps reduce your cost, your actual out of pocket cost for marketing. So, or be like, I love to see you just add it to the top. So if they're going to give you 4, add it to what you were already going to do. That's my favorite place to see that added as someone that loves to see those good marketing budgets on there. And again, I want to reiterate this point. Google reviews are very important. If you're not automating that process, there's very few reasons to not automate it. And on the AI side of things, I was watching yesterday a couple of vendor partners are releasing the AI integration to automatically answer your Google reviews with true sentiment. Meaning, if it was a good review, it gets a good response. If it's a bad review, it gets a good response, an appropriate response for that. So, with these Google reviews, if you haven't already connected with a partner to help you automate that, you should do that. Let's say you've been doing this for a minute and you've got this part down and you're like, Crystal, give me something deeper than that. Why don't you take it to the next level? Start asking for video testimonials. Start asking for ways that you can utilize these reviews and go to the next step. The video testimonials that you then share on social media, that you put on your website, that you do all kinds of cool things with. That's the next level stuff, right? Also making sure that if you've got multiple locations, that the reviews are going to the correct Google business profile and that you're actively answering their reviews with words that are important for SEO. So thank you for letting us come out to Dallas, Texas and repair your heating system. We were honored to be a part of it. Like, you can really work on those. So do not sleep on the Google reviews. Okay, so I know that was one that was really good, and then you shared there was another one that you really like to do, and I'm going to say this, and you can tell me not to say this. I think a lot of what you brought up today is for a newer contractor or a contractor that's been in business for a whole like they were in business before the internet, and so adopting to some of these things has really been a challenge. Because your second one is going to kind of be a no-brainer for a lot of people. But for the new people, I really think we could spend some time here. So what was that second one that you were telling me about, Ashley?
We have a partnership with Online Access, and it really is a competitive advantage in some of the smaller rural areas. So not necessarily a younger contractor, but maybe a more rural contractor or an older generation contractor that has used word of mouth for a very long time. It exposes you a little bit further, and with the markets experiencing a little bit of a lull or a change in the economy, it's so important to have that, even a baseline website. So I feel like Online Access makes a great partner from small to big because they have plans that encompass all of that. It's been great for some of my contractors.
Yeah, so I reiterate some of those same sentiments. Online access is great for a lot of contractors. I will say this, that I do agree 100%. If you do not have a website, let's start there. But those of you that do have a website, to Ashley's point here, it really is a game changer for those of you that really start investing and being intentional with your SEO strategy, your website strategy, as far as like what it looks like, who you're using, your URLs that you have attached to it. So, there's lots of opportunity there for the website side of things to be a lot more indicative of success. So I have contractors all the time that'll say, well, I grew to $5 million, $8 million, $15 million with very little marketing budget. And you know
Mhm.
what my answer to that is? Man, imagine what you could have done with a marketing budget.
I love
So
that.
imagine, so yeah, so if you did $3 million without even working hard, imagine if we would have thrown $100,000 out there and actually asked people for their business. Right? So a
Well,
lot of that is just, being intentional. And I say this all the time too. What got you here won't get you there. All of a sudden, when you're trying to hurdle $10 million and $15 million a year. So remember in 2023, you got to do that. If you did 10 million in 2023 to grow in 2024, you've got to do that same 10 million plus. So it's not just you got to make up the incremental, right? Sometimes I have to say that out loud. Like you got to do that whole 10 again, to get over it. And so a lot of important things here is I feel like websites are the most controversial soap opera like areas of our business in the marketing side. People think Lemon Seed does websites too. They think we do them, and we do not. We actually are like, we help come alongside the contractor and help them choose the right vendor partner and then make the most of their marketing budgets. But websites, I don't sleep on websites. You have got to get one. You have got to hold your vendor accountable. You've got to work with great people like Online Access that help you get in there, own your content. They're constantly working on search engine optimization for your city and your weather and your equipment and your offerings. And so please do not rest that, oh, well, I got a website partner. Start really holding them accountable and giving them information. So if you are doing something cool, give them the information. If you're a $20 million company and you need to go to the next level, then start going to the next level by working alongside those digital partners. They're not your enemy. They're not trying to take your money. It's just they probably don't have enough information a lot of times to pivot when you need them to pivot. So, and listen, I've come across some shady pants people. So websites are so cringy. So don't. It's one of those things like don't be afraid of websites, but at the same time, be cognizant that you're not a web developer, so let them do what they do. It's always a tricky situation. Do you have a specific example, Ashley, of like someone that didn't have one and then they got a website?
yeah, I had Top Tier out of Blaine, Minnesota, and they had their website go down, and the company wasn't willing to get it up immediately. And they have a really strong, growing presence in the metro area. Online Access had it up within, I think it was a day and a half, and a new partnership that has been highly successful.
Awesome. Awesome. So, a lot of you value things in a website company. Here's what I value: transparency. I value the ownership of my assets. I value them being able to pivot quickly. So I don't need them. I do not have a 24-hour expectation, but I don't have a 2-week expectation either. So, setting realistic and clear explanations. When we interview client digital companies for our clients, I always like to ask, like, what is your turnaround time? What is your contractual agreement? Do I own all of my assets? How often do we meet for reporting? How quick can you make changes? Like those are good things that you can ask that help you make a decision because those are good differentiators for you. If you really like two companies that you've been interviewing for your whole digital presence, just those questions alone will probably help you make a decision there. So, okay, and you told me another interesting thing about Gustave Larson that I want you to expand on and tell me a little bit about. And it's this internal business coach that you guys provide. Tell me about
Yeah,
that a little bit.
we have a gentleman named Bob Miller, and he's worked in HVAC for a very long time, working with our contractors to understand their financial situation. Like I said earlier, we often have technicians become owners or just owners that don't have strengths in their financials and maybe didn't choose the right financial professionals to manage their books, or maybe internally didn't hire effectively. And we bring Bob in to support them on their journey to become successful in working with Larson and in their business.
So, yeah, so, I know a lot of you that are driving and listening right now, probably have a business coach or maybe you've been thinking about a business coach. I will tell you business coaches or just a good business advisor will change the trajectory of your business. Especially if you kind of knock yourself down a little bit. This is going to sound so contradictory to what you want to do naturally. Um, okay, and another thing that I think that these internal business coaches are good for is operations. A lot of times there's just holes in places that you don't see it, but you start off like, who cares about age of equipment? Who cares about the model and serial number or when I installed all this? Like, and then all of a sudden you're a $10 million company. You're like, dang, I wish we could track age of equipment. I wish we could track, people with their warranties or that who has this particular style of equipment. And you'll wish that you started off better. My sister and I are starting a pest control company right now, and we're trying to build this business as if we're a $10 million company because we know in the grand scheme of things, when we start really spilling over into growing larger, we'll be glad that we went through the torture that we feel like we're going through right now. So, actually, what are some other things that you think make people good contractor partners with Gustave Larson? Like, what are some of the characteristics of those contractors that you think really separate them from everyone else?
I think we're coming into an era with Larson that we can really offer the business support. We have came in and out of that, but the team that's being brought in right now is really dynamic in their backgrounds as far as HVAC and business
Mm,
and marketing, and being able to leverage internally what we not only do well as a distributor, but as business owners can come side by side with us and utilize our resources. Really, as a territory manager or business development manager, supporting in leveraging your co-op and marketing funds and your additional benefits that you get from the organization is a hand holding for some of the contractors to make sure that it is utilized. Some of the bigger organizations already have that in place. To add to what you said earlier, is I think some of the most successful guys that walk into the business are the guys that already have the business foundation created. They have the P3, they have the field edge, they have the FSM software established, they have a website built, they have a marketing plan in place, they've maybe done a business plan already. There was a gentleman I met with earlier last year that became an American Standard dealer with us. And when I met with him, he already had his logo on a hat, a logo on a jacket. I said, how long have you been doing this? He said, well, I start on Monday. And I said, oh my
amen.
goodness,
Yeah.
I am so proud of you. And yes,
We're working with a client right now that has not even opened his business yet. But we are
oh,
already doing branding and setting up social media channels and email platforms. And I mean, I'm like, he is going to start off 10 miles ahead of anyone else probably that's ever started at this point.
the guys in the market are like, where did he come from anyway? I mean,
Yeah.
because he came so established feeling, and that really adds a competitive advantage when he goes in with his clients or potential clients.
Yes, absolutely. Well, another thing that you kind of mentioned is, and I've been to a Larson event, and you're all sitting in a room, and I want to encourage contractors, like, look around. You want to be the odd man out of your group. I am always looking for the group at those events that are, if I'm 5 million, they're 10 million. That's the group I want to be in. I
Yeah.
rarely want to be the big shot. So, like, every once in a while, like, let me just get a little gossipy here. Like, you'll walk around and you're like, this dude is doing $7 million and he's sitting over here with all these $2 million dudes touting how good he is, instead of spending his time with people that are doing it better than him and figuring it out. Like, let me go over there. You don't have to be the big shot in the room, because number one, I promise you, there's somebody else probably close to that room that's doing what you're doing and doing it better. But also,
There's a
yeah,
There's a thing called, it was years ago, I heard a speaker called Life as a Theater. It was by Brian Parsley had presented it in a staff development group. And life as a theater, meaning you close your eyes and you imagine this theater and think who's in your front row, who's in your back row, who's up in the higher level of the theater. And the people that you surround yourself with is what you become.
mm, you're the sum of the closest five people to you, or something along those lines. And
Yeah.
I cannot express this to people enough. I partner with contractors every single day that start with me at 1 million, and today they're at 4 and 5, 6, $8 million. I partner with contractors on the same day that are at 1 million, that today are at $1 million. So, and it's because it's a mindset. Like marketing can only do so much, operations can only do so much, social media, a mascot, a wrap truck, a wrap van, even heck, even your distributor, your manufacturer, those people can only do so much. It's got to be your mindset, your work ethic, your energy level to move forward. And, you partner with great people. And so, no matter who you're partnering with, utilize their resources, go to their events, participate in their trainings, better yourself, grow yourself, and therefore your business will grow. And
Yes.
it's not rocket science. More than anything, you got to have a little humble pie and sit back and be like, I don't know everything. I can learn from others. Also, many of you have good things to share. Many of you have learned out of pain comes progress. So many of you have access, like, hey, let me tell you, I made the mistake of not updating my pricing for 2 years. And then when I went up, or I made the mistake of my maintenance program being this, and I should have done this. I made the mistake of going with this vendor and I should have gone with this one. Those are all, I call it I say this, when you go to conferences or shows or anything like that, where most the learning comes from? Around a dinner table or a bar high table.
Mm,
The
I agree.
conversations, the networking. So Lemon Seed has a conference coming up. We're recording this a little bit before our conference comes up. But, and at that conference, yes, I strive really hard to have good content. But really, do you know where the majority of the relationship building and the ideas come from? Is those networking opportunities. So, well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us and just chatting with me. And if someone wanted to reach out to you about more information about Larson or anything like that, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Email me, Ashly, without an E,
Yeah.
ASHLY.Hughes, HUGHES, @galarson.com.
Perfect. And we'll have that all in the show notes for you guys. Ashley has been an absolute doll. The Larson partnership is a great thing. Lemon Seeds really enjoyed playing a small part of some of those activities. That mainly thanks to Colleen at Online Access.
Yeah,
She
yes.
connects us. She's quite the connector in the trades there.
Yes, she is.
Online Access is a great company as well. We'll also list a link to their website in our show notes. Rachel will make sure to do that for me. But most importantly, thank you so much, listeners, for listening to another episode. If you really loved us, because Ashley and I were great. We were very entertaining for these 20 minutes now. We would love to get a review from you, whether it's on Facebook or on wherever you're listening to podcasts right now. Please let us know what you love. If you don't love something, just send us an email. But we would love to get some reviews. Go like us on all of our social media channels. Guys, we hope you have a great rest of your week. Here's to growing a great business in 2024. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for sipping some lemonade. We'll see you soon.